Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. Sorry, I didn't realize it was going to be definitely loud. Welcome. Thank you all for coming. My name is Doug Adelson. I'm the chair of the Department of Physics and Astronomy. And it's delightful to see so many of you here today to honor and celebrate the amazing rice career of our friend Umbe, who's right over here. Please make sure that when all the talking is done, you actually have a glass. There's people coming around handing out glasses of things. Make sure you have a glass. I'll have a little more to say shortly, but first, it's my pleasure to introduce the Dean of Natural Sciences and my predecessor's department chair, Tom Curry.
Thank you, Doug. And so it's a pleasure to be here to honor Umbe and give her best wishes. Yeah, I'm certainly speaking here as a past department chair and a member of the Department of Physics. One regret of being a dean is you don't get to interact with a lot of the people that you come to know so well, like Umbe. So I've already missed her before she left. I've been here for 20 years, so I've benefited so many times from Umbe's wonderful efforts and her warm embrace. I'll just say a few things that demonstrate to me how much Umbe always there.
Hello?
Peter. So when I was there very early on, Valerie Call retired, and there's nothing more scary as a department chair when one of your key staff retired, because it's really the staff that know everything and run everything. And so Umbe was very gracious in stepping in to handle the support of the chair and handling a lot of the personnel actions in the department. And I know her love was with many other things that she did, so I was very appreciative that she was willing to step in and do that. But that's just the way she is. When something needs to be done, she's always there to do it. And even of course, during some of the toughest times, she was always there. She would rise to the occasion. Like some of the sad times when we've lost dear members of our department, you could always rely on her to be there with the grieving and as a support for all of us to help things keep running smoothly. I know Stan's wife Ying was very appreciative of all she did for her. She couldn't be here, but she sends her best wishes. On a happier note, everyone knows how much Umbe would really embrace all of our families, our children, and make her family as well. I don't know what she did with all the Girl Scout cookies she bought for my daughter and all your children as well. So she always made my children feel very, very welcome when they came here. So we'll never be able to replace Umbe, your warmth, your generosity, and the love that you showed for everyone in physics and astronomy and the whole university. So thank you for all that you've done.
Thank you.
Now I'd like to hear my predecessor.
Thank you, Tom. Well, the question I have is, how does one begin to sort of catalogue all the many contributions that have been made by Umbe to Rice and to the university and to the department? I mean, just amazing, Umbe. I don't know how to do it. So I thought I'd start out at the very beginning. Okay? When you first came to Rice 45 years ago, I was a beginning novice assistant professor in the department of what was then the Space Sciences department. And I remember you came and you sat at a desk in the hallway outside my office.
Correct.
Okay? And you were helping us as a secretary. In those days, faculty had secretaries. And you actually helped us by doing things like typing papers, typing proposals. And I was having a conversation earlier with someone who said she was a wonderful typist. And you remember, I see you sitting here with that electric typewriter. She was a wonderful typist, and it was a case of in by 9, out by noon with no mistakes. It was amazing. Now, beyond that, you also gave us an enormous amount of help with organizing trips, helping with managing our classes, things of that type. Later on, I remember you'd actually, I think, moved into the department office by this time, and Alex Dessler, the then department chair, went on a sabbatical, and I became appointed as sort of temporary chair. And it was during that time that I came to recognize your enormous role as a sort of, you were the life and soul of the department. I came to view you as a sort of mother hen who was running around shepherding and looking out for her brood. And the brood, of course, being all the graduate students in the department, the postdocs, and all the faculty members. Now, there were many other skills you had, which I remember from way back when. Well, not so way back when, this particular one. But you may remember that Randy Hewlett and I decided that we would be stupid, volunteer to be local chairs, local chairs for an APS Division of Atomic Molecular and Optical Physics meeting in Houston.
Dame up.
Dame up. This turned out to be an enormous amount of work, most of which landed on your shoulders. We ended up with a record number of attendees. I think it was over 1,300. Okay? We overflowed the conference hotel. We overflowed the overflow hotel. There was just no end to this. But it turns out that I learned through that you not only had amazing organizational skills, but you were also an amazing negotiator.
Oh, yes.
You were a real horse trader. We benefited from this. We got really competitive room rates. We got complimentary suites. We got free use of the facilities in the hotel. We got discounted food. It was amazing.
It's true.
It's true. It's true. And Umbe, you actually ended up organizing a conference that became the gold standard by which all future DAMOPs have been measured. So it was really successful, largely due to your efforts.
And I made the department $20,000.
And we made $20,000.
Because we had money left over, and I told him to build APS for my time.
We did.
Keep it.
Yeah, we did. So, in summary, I and many others may have benefited from all your efforts and all your help over the years. And it seems kind of inadequate to just say a very heartfelt thank you, but thank you. Now I'll turn over to Doug.
So the problem with going third is that so many of the things I was going to say have been said. Tom and Barry, of course, are exactly right. Umbe has worked tirelessly. She's always given her heart and soul for everything the department does. During my time as chair, she was serving in sort of the role that was traditionally kind of assistant to the chair, working on personnel things, promotions, hiring, but also always taking the time to do department-wide events, GCURS, our big undergrad research symposium, QWIP, the Conference for Undergraduate Women in Physics, the Sally Ride Festival, any number of large departmental events. And so we literally could not do these things without you. She's a remarkable person. Umbe has been a friend, a colleague, and basically a surrogate parent to pretty much everyone she's encountered during her 44 years at Rice. And I think it's worth thinking about, in the 21st century, we're kind of used to this idea that people change jobs all the time, people move around. You might have half a dozen different jobs in 5 different cities during the course of your career, and it's just remarkable. The level, it's rare, it's an exception to find someone who really puts their heart and soul into a place. And her dedication to Rice has been, constant and unwavering. The Romans had this concept called genius loci, which is basically the spirit of a place. So it truly embodies and inhabits a location. And for Rice, I'm pretty sure that's okay. So thank you for everything, Umbe. As Barry said, thank you seems inadequate, but we really look forward to seeing you as you enjoy your retirement. I do have some. Actually, this is totally in analogy with graduation, where they give people a cardboard tube and eventually the diploma comes. There is a real gift on the way. That is a box. And now I'd like to introduce David Alexander, a colleague and director of the Rice Space Institute.
So the problem with going fourth, I'm following the 3 chairs who have served while I've been at Rice. I've been here 18 years. And of course, one of the memories, even before coming to Rice, is coming to visit and see if you wanted to come here. And one of those memories is standing right in front of us here, along with the other staff who've been here as well. But Umbe and I have worked together in many different occurrences, or helped me with the department. My daughter was born in Texas and is actually not here today because she's in Chicago looking at colleges. And so all through that history of my daughter growing up, Umbe's been part of that in some form or other. And I know Kaylee has very warm memories of Umbe in very many different places around the country and the world. One of the things that we worked on before we even get to the RSI side of things is workshops. And so Umbe, of course, Frank's here, was a very big part of GEM, still is. And I was tasked with running a different workshop called Shine. Don't have to explain it all what it is, but it's just a big meeting for my community. And naturally, Umbe was available because she was right next door, and we were able to bring Umbe in to help us with that. And I say help us with that as if that's like all she did. But you know, I think that, the thing I'm going to mention I'll say in a second, but if you've ever organized a conference, particularly of physicists, you'll know that you get complaints about the food, the poster sessions, oh my God, the complaints about how you should do the poster sessions better. I've even had complaints about how the mountains were blocking the sun from their bedroom. And so Umbe comes in, and some people have referred to it as like mother hen and so on, but it's mostly a nurturing thing. But when she needs to, I give this picture of Umbe with a fiery sword going in and telling these senior scientists, stop being a baby. We're all here together, we're all doing our best, leave David alone, and I'm kind of cowering behind Umbe the whole time. And the other part about the Shine meeting is, so I've served Shine for 22 years in every capacity, including chair. And for all of that time, the one thing that I'm best remembered for is bringing Umbe into Shine. And that's still true. I mean, I haven't been to Shine the last few years because of COVID and things. Umbe is still there doing everything. And then she's back at GEM, and she's back at these other conferences. And as somebody said it earlier, you can't imagine these things without her. And I think that's true for the university and the department. And then there's Rice Space Institute. You know, Pat is giving a talk this evening. Pat started this whole process, a fantastic institute. I'm lucky to have been working in it for the last several years. And it wouldn't have happened, and we wouldn't have made it what it is today without Pat's initial focus on it and drive for it, but without Umbe being part of that whole process as well. So personally, I have a lot to not just thank, but I owe Umbe a lot. And I think we all share that, and there's only a few of us get a chance to come up here and say that. So again, thank you, Umbe. I do have a little thing here. It's not too, don't get too excited about it, but we do have something that RSI is giving Umbe over there, and it's a crystal bowl, but there's notelets if you'd like to write a personal message to Umbe and stick it in the bowl. I'm sure she'd be appreciative of that. Thank you.
Yeah, go in to take a look at it. It's beautiful. Thank you, David.
And my next last task is to invite Edison, there he is, up to the podium. Edison Liang.
So when I heard about Umbe's retirement, I kept asking myself, you know, what can we give her to commemorate, you know, all the contributions she made to all the conferences and so on. So I stumbled upon an item that actually has her name on it, okay? So immortalized, okay? So Umbe, you probably remember this.
Oh, yes, yes.
And your name is right here, conference organizer.
I
okay?
know.
And here we go. So let me just say a word about it. Back in the 90s, we had a conference series going, but it was only limited to national labs and also only to US citizens. So I volunteered to start this new conference series, so bringing it to Rice. And lo and behold, Umbe was the one to make it a true success. And since that time, this conference has been going around the world now in all the universities for the past 20 years. With that particular conference, Umbe's name is actually now immortalized together with all the exotic names including supernovae and shockwaves. And hopefully during your retirement time, maybe you can look at that and, you know, think about a little bit about the other topics and try to understand what they mean.
Trust me, I know.
In the back of that plaque is a little thank you note from the high energy density physics community.
Oh, thank you so
Because
much.
so many people came to talk to me about, they just could not forget about Umbe. Okay?
it's really a touching time for me to be here because Umbe's been a part of my life at Rice almost since the beginning. I think actually I have now been here longer than everybody in the room. I got here as a graduate student in 1971 and went away after my PhD to Marshall for a year postdoc, and then I came back. Well, when I came back, it was about the same time that Reggie started, about the same time Barry started, about the same time Umbe started, so a whole bunch of us kind of grew up together. and in fact, if you look at some of these pictures, you can actually, see us 40 years ago and see us 20 years ago and see the wrinkles. But it's been a wonderful ride, and I've always had, somebody I could depend on, somebody I knew would do the right thing, somebody I knew who could negotiate like crazy. She said, oh, I can get that for $35 a night. You don't have to pay $70 for a banquet. And she would do it. I mean, she could manage it. So we've always leaned on her managerial skills for conferences. And like, for example, Rice did GEM for many years, and when it passed on to the next university to handle it, they did such a rotten job. They said, well, you don't have to do it at Rice, we just need Umbe. So that's why she now actually has a conference business doing GEM and Shine, and she's going to continue to do that as she goes along. But we raised our kids together, we went on trips together, we commiserated when things went bad, and when things went happy, we had joys together. I do have a bunch that came in from our alumni, and I'm going to be putting these into the pot. But here's one from one of my Master of Science teachers. You're a gem and always had your finger on the pulse of things at Rice. You helped me so much as I hobbled through my late career master's program, always a steady beacon of light as I navigated the sometimes stormy seas of graduate school. Thank you. Enjoy all the wonderful adventures that retirement can bring. And that's from Lolly Garay. And this is from Paul Cloutier. He said, I'm sorry that I won't be able to be there. He says, but I'm happy to claim some responsibility for hiring Umbe to come to work at Rice 44 years ago. I consider that to be one of my greatest accomplishments at Rice over my many years here. She became the heart and soul of the department and contributed directly to the success of many faculty, staff members, and students. Everyone, including me, understood that at any time a problem came up, the key to a quick and satisfactory solution was to get Umbe involved. Umbe, I thank you for all you've done over the years for Rice and for me and my students, and I wish you many years of a happy and well-deserved retirement. Muchas gracias, Pablito. And I think the other thing that's special about Umbe is just her accessibility. I mean, she's always gotten to the students who made sure they knew they had a friend. If they had a problem, she could fix it, or she'd put them to the place where they could be fixed. She was always available on her phone, at midnight, on Sundays. She had to do a personnel action form when she was on vacation in Iceland. None of the other staff was available to do a personal action form except Umbe on her phone in Iceland. So that's dedication, folks. And it's something that is really going to be sorely missed. Well, I'm not going to say any more because everybody's saying all the same things, but let me join now in a toast. So raise your glasses, and we will say not only thank you so much for all your dedicated service, but then we're going to sing happy birthday, because this also happens to be your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Umbe. Happy birthday to you. So, eat, drink. Now you can have a cupcake, and now you can go outside. Oh, wait, okay. cake, wait. We're not done yet. Here comes the cake. Yeah, Karen, say hello. Hi, Karen. And Nemo, hey, Nemo. Stop the crooked. I'm sorry. Hold the camera, you know. Yeah, come on, yeah.
You remember me?
Yeah, Omar.
How are you?
Good to see you. Hey, say hello.
Where?
Yeah, Kevin is on. Do you remember Kevin Robinette?
Oh, yeah. Hello, how are you?
Alright, we're gonna sing again. You didn't do a good enough job last Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
I'm starting.
Happy birthday to
My favorite. Yeah, that's my favorite chocolate cake, and she got it. Just say a few words. Hello, everybody. I can't begin to tell you how much this means to me, to see all these beautiful, wonderful colleagues and friends that I love, that are very dear to my heart. When I came in 1977, when I came to Houston in 72 after I got married, I had no idea that one day I will be working at this prestigious university. And I was at a party where the staff from the SPAC department, the old Space Physics and Astronomy department, attended too, and they were observing me, and I had no idea. I was helping with the party because it was a cousin's party, and then a day later, I get a phone call from the person that ended up being my supervisor, Barbara Ballou, offering me a job in the department. So then I said, well, let me talk to my husband to see what he says, and then he says, well, if you want to work, and I said, well, I'm kind of bored. And I had 2 little kids, 2 boys. And so she said, it's up to you. So then I called Barbara back and I said, what do I need to do? And she says, you have to go to personnel, you have to do an application, you have to do a typing test. And I said, I haven't touched a typewriter in over 5 years because I finished school and I got married and came here. And I said, but I was the best in my class, so I know it's just, I said, modesty apart, but I said, I know that it's just a matter of practice. And so I went to personnel and I typed 42 words per minute. The requirement was 55. And the then assistant dean, Ruth Parks, gave the department a hard time about hiring me because I didn't meet the requirements. But I know, and so, what?
That's enough. That's enough.
And then 3 months later, I went back and took the test and I typed 97 words per minute. So I cleared my name. So it has been wonderful getting to know all of
trying to
you.
get everybody
Like I said, you hold a very special place in my heart, and I'm not ever going to forget you. I'm planning to write my memoirs, and it's going to be called As the Department Turns. Hopefully.
You have to wait till we're all dead.
I know, because I have some very juicy stories to tell, because I love you so I will not do that to you. I will keep those just to myself. I will just talk about the fun stuff, you know? So anyways, thank you so much for being here and for offering me this wonderful farewell party. And by the grace of God who blessed me to give me the opportunity to work here at Rice, he is the one that I have to thank. And thank you all for always being so supportive, and I have enjoyed working with everybody. Pat Rife is like, we always call each other sisters from a different mother. And so I worked under 5 different chairs, and Doug is one of them, my latest one, and I love you so much. You were wonderful. And David was the second RSI director. We have a very special relationship too, and with his kids and his wife. And Pat and Tom, her husband, and Dr. Dunning and Chris. Chris, we used to get together in the old Space Science building at coffee break. Remember? I do. And remember when you got pregnant with your kids?
She definitely remembers that.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to mention Dr. John Freeman, may he rest in peace, who came to my office one day and he says, Umbe, I'm going to be the coordinator of the GEM conference, Geospace Environment Modeling Conference. It's going to be in Colorado, but you have to come with me. And I said, okay, what do I have to do? And so I ended up between him and Frank Capoletto, who I also love very dearly. I met him in 1982 when he came from Australia as a graduate student in 1982. And at that time, we had lost the recruiting secretary, so I was doing the department secretary job and the recruiting at the same time, and I think I was also doing the purchasing, and I was doing 3 jobs. Yes, at that time, but I kind of took them all under my wing, and they became like my brothers, my little brothers. And we keep up in touch through the years. So it's been wonderful. I have so many students that call me Mama Umbe, and I love it. And a lot of students that they felt more comfortable coming to me when they had problems or they were depressed. They couldn't go to their advisor. They didn't feel comfortable, so they will come to me. I had a case of a student that says, Umbe, I can't do it. I can't do research. I said, send me your address. I went to her apartment. You know, I let her cry on my shoulder, but before I did that, I went and talked to the postdoc that was guiding her, and I asked him, does she have what it takes to get a PhD? And he said, yes, she just needs guidance. I said, well, you need to give it to her. And so I went to her house, and she cried on my shoulder. I took her to dinner and a movie, and by the time we were eating dinner, she was calling her mom and laughing, you know, and she ended up doing really well. So many cases like that. It's hard to talk about so many, but Rice is my second family. At one point, my kids were starting to get jealous that I was always talking about Rice. So I had to talk to them, and I said, look, Rice is my second family. And you cannot, I'm never going to stop talking about Rice. So you either take it or leave it. I mean, I said, I have plenty of love to give. I never run out of hugs. So, okay, and so they understood and they left me alone. But my kids have been, like, I have to thank Pami also, especially because she was like the youngest one when I was doing SES with Chu Miao, the conference, the international conference. And she was at San Agnes Academy, and she will come, you know, with a ride with other kids that live in this area. Sometimes I was here until 5 o'clock in the morning, working on the conference. Pam never complained. She had her little blanket under her desk, and she slept, you know.
My blanket. She used my blanket.
No, she actually had a baby. She also actually had a baby blanket that I gave another graduate student. Yeah, so, you know, there's so many, and I enjoyed working with Anthony. That conference that we did, it was in 2003 in New Zealand. The most wonderful 12 days in New Zealand. It was amazing. Going out to eat every day, every night, different No, well, a lot of lamb. They have more lamb than people. No, but the oysters, they fix them in so many different ways, the oysters, right? So I've done so many conferences through the years, and I'm happy to report I have 4 scheduled for next year. 2 back-to-back in Hawaii. With God's will, this pandemic will let us do it. And I have Jam and Shine back-to-back. And then I have SDO in September or October in Vancouver. And then the mini jam, I don't know where AGU is going to be next year. But wherever AGU is going to be, that's where I'm going to go. So I'm pretty excited. I'm subcontracted by NSF and NASA, which I love those agencies. They're amazing. And a lot of our professors get grants from them. So I used to, when Pat submitted her first outreach grant with Dr. Sumner's, we will stay up all night. Remember? She put me in charge of working on all the bios of all the contributing people, and they were all from different nationalities, so I had to make sure they all matched the type, the format. It was a lot of work. And then we had to make, at that time, 15 copies to send to NASA. I don't know if any of you remember that. So I gave it the nominee party before they went off to make sure that they get funded. And they usually did get funded. So she got $1 million grant that time. Wasn't it $1 million? So
Half of it was some money, actually.
I know. So it's, thank you so much. I love you very much. And stay in touch. I'm on Facebook. I'm on LinkedIn. I have Twitter, but I don't use it that much. I have WhatsApp. And I still have my Rice, Umbe at rice.edu, and my personal is Umbe Olive, half of my last name, Oliveira, Olive, Umbe Olive at me, or at iCloud.com. So you're welcome to send me a note anytime, or if you need my help with anything, I'll help you for free.